Hi everybody, welcome back to Geezer Rider. In this video we're going to be reviewing the Tourmaster brand model Solution 3.0 WP boot. As usual, I was looking for a boot, in this case winter, so basically fall, winter, and spring, cold weather riding, wet riding, and wasn't really finding what I was looking for in my normal go-to, which is like a cruiser style. So what I found was waterproof boots that were either treated leather or a mix of leather and synthetic with a waterproof membrane on the inside. So that meant that the leather would still get soaked, and your foot would be inside a membrane. Usually not so well vented in the cruiser style, so it kind of feel like you were in a plastic bag. And of course there's the thoughts about, the stitching and the leather getting wet. So I gravitated away from that and started looking in the more sport touring, maybe even dual sport looking. What I didn't want was like a dirt bike, an off-road look. What I also didn't care for was a boot that would have buckles or straps or anything external, up near the top of the boot, or even down the bottom. Of wear heated pants that have a liner inside, and I didn't want that to get caught on the buckle. Putting it on, taking it off, or for some reason my pant leg should ride up the cuff, it would get caught on there and not be able to come back down and keep me warm without me pulling over and pulling it down or tucking it down again. The price point I was looking for was $150 or less, with a preference for less. It's just what I had to spend on this product at this time, and in the $110 to $149 price range. There are actually quite a few offerings, and many very similar to this product that we're about to review. I went with Tourmaster because of the brand, and another reason is when this is being recorded, we're still in the middle of the pandemic of 2020, and there were some options with shipping and delivery and such there, depending on where I bought it. And this was available at a place where I could have it shipped to the store and try it on, and if it didn't work out, they would ship it back for me. So there's a little bit of complexity to that story as well. We'll get to that in a minute. So we'll go into, what were my criteria, what was I looking for, did I get it or not when I ordered the boot, and whether my assumptions were correct or not, and some of the things I found online. As usual, please like this video if you care for the content. Leave a comment if you have any, or would like to see more of like equipment style reviews, and please subscribe and hit the notification button. You'll be alerted when new videos come out. So what I was looking for, I already mentioned, I wanted something for fall, winter, and spring. It is amazing how many manufacturers and how many retailers of motorcycle equipment do not address warmth for the boot. If it's a breathable boot, there's an air version of this. Please note we are not reviewing the air version, which is more airflow, cooler in the summer. But unless it is a boot that is specifically meant to keep you cool in the summer, they usually don't talk about how well it keeps your foot warm. And I find that kind of ridiculous, especially in a waterproof boot, because chances are somebody's buying that to use spring, winter, or fall, winter, or spring when it's going to be colder. So I found some reviews of this boot that said it was warm, and some said, hey, it kept my foot dry and cool. Some said it kept my foot warm and dry. So I was a little concerned about, whether it was going to be warm enough, and knew it was going to be waterproof. I also wanted it to be, have a sole that was oil resistant, because obviously if you're riding in the rain, those first few minutes, all the oil comes up, you go to put your foot down, on a hard rubber sole or something like that that's not oil resistant, you could have a problem. So that was a bit of my criteria. I already talked about how I didn't want the straps up here. I wanted it to be waterproof. I didn't want it to feel like my foot was inside a baggie. And it should provide, some kind of protection, as any boot should you have an issue out on the road. So again, a lot of things that were in the relative price point of this. I just happen to like Tourmaster brand. They're not sponsoring this or anything. I bought these with my own money. And they were available, it's like a fixed price, either deliberately or indirectly. Everywhere I looked, Amazon, wherever, this was always $129.99. So I could buy it from just about anybody. Obviously, Amazon would be free shipping. The most in-depth review I could get was actually on Revzilla, who owns Cycle Gear, or they're both owned by the same parent company now. Revzilla actually has a video on the boots where Cycle Gear does not. Revzilla also has a slightly different product description of the boots than Cycle Gear does not. So though the two are kind of in the same corporate bucket, there's obviously still a separation of church and state. I wound up doing ship to store, as I mentioned, to Cycle Gear, which is obvious because Revzilla has maybe, 2 retail stores, and I don't think you can even buy there. It's a showroom, not a store. And the reason for this is if I were to buy them from Revzilla and have them shipped to home, and I think their shipping was, at least at this time, anything over $79 for free shipping, everything was fine as long as they fit me well. If they didn't fit me well, you had to do the RMA process, and you had to pay a $7 return shipping fee. If I had them shipped to store for to a Cycle Gear store, which is 20 minutes, 25 minutes from my house, conveniently enough, I could go there, I could try them on, and if they weren't right, Cycle Gear would ship them back and charge me no shipping. And they would handle the reorder and everything. So I thought that was pretty cool. These days, I mentioned the pandemic. Sorry, a little tongue-tied there. I mentioned the pandemic. So in these times, people are weighing, well, do I really want to go out, and go to a store? If I really don't have to, maybe I'll have it shipped to home. So for me, the convenience of having them be able to ship it back, right from there and handle everything, was worth going to the store. The store that I went to, was adhering to protocols. Everything was clean. They had hand sanitizer bottles all over the place. Everything was cool. So that part was really a non-issue for me. In the selection process, I did call Revzilla for advice because I couldn't tell whether they were warm or not. And basically the answer was, well, they're not really a winter boot and not much is anymore these days, which I kind of find hard to believe, but I guess that's a really niche market segment, especially in the US. Maybe if, some of the European countries, that's a little different, where people tend to ride more all year round than we do here in the US. But basically all they could say was, they're going to be warmer than the Air version. So don't get the Air version, get just the 3.0 WP. Again, the model is Solution. The other thing they mentioned was they ran small. I saw a review that said they ran small and narrow. I also saw a review that said they ran true to size. The retailer deals with this a lot. Revzilla, the guys seem to have a lot of information. I'm normally a 10.5 wide. And the gentleman that I spoke to on the phone suggested going to an 11 wide because he felt they actually ran that small. And I was really concerned because I've been burned before. I've got boots that, were just double the size that I needed, just foot flopping around in there. And I've also got boots that, they're like, oh yeah, they're wide enough, and they were nowhere near wide enough. So another reason to have them shipped to the store. Long story short, I did try them on already and walk around in them a little bit, and they run small. So I bought the 11 wide, and it fits into the toe box like a 10.5 for me normally would, and they're actually just a titch on the narrow side even. I have read that they do have some give, and as they wear in, they'll relax a little bit, and I'm looking forward to that, because with like a thick wool winter sock on or something, right now that's going to be really tight. Just a normal athletic sock is kind of snug. So I'll wear them with that for a few times, even when it's not cold out. Just break them in and get that out of the way. And I think I mentioned a moment ago about the sizing. So I don't know how well you can make it out on the screen. They do not offer half sizes. So if you're a 10.5, you jump between a 10 or 11, on down the line. I think they have half sizes, I apologize, in like 8.5 and 12.5, but that's it. So in the normal area where I would expect them to have half sizes, like, common shoe sizes for men anyway, and this is the result for search for men's boots. There's no 9.5, there's no 10.5, there's no 11.5. And I find that a little odd. So again, sizing could wind up being an issue for you. We talked about the warmth factor. Again, I did put them on. I found them to be warm. They do claim that they are breathable, even though they're waterproof. So your foot's not going to sweat, and that can be a problem. My intention is to put, if you've watched my heated gear reviews, I have I think it's a 4-part segment actually on heated insoles. It's one of the earlier videos we did. And I intend to put those heated insoles in here and wear a warm sock. And I think that'll be sufficiently warm enough, but the time will tell. I'll do a follow-up video later on like I always do with equipment reviews. So basically they're saying, anything you can find online is probably going to be similar to this. They have some protected shin and ankle guards, etc. Orthopedic insole, which I'm going to be taking out anyways, non-starter, water repellent Italian microfiber upper, Hypora 3-layer waterproof breathable membrane, emphasis on the breathable, outside ankle rubberized padding, a TPU shifter guard, which is something I wanted, the little extra pad of rubber on top, which isn't always present in the cruiser styles I wanted, a real YKK brand zipper for the side zip, and that the only thing I have to say about that is it has a little Velcro tab on it that will Velcro underneath the flap closure, which we'll look at in just a second. I like that, so it keeps the zipper from crawling back down. But what's referred to as the gaiter, which is the rubber lining that goes inside, you have to really be careful and make sure you have that pushed back out of the way of the zipper trying to put it up. Just the first couple times I tried to put them on, it was getting caught. You don't want to tear through that. It's not that thick. And I think once they're broken in, there'll be a little more wiggle room there. That won't be as big a problem. Thermoplastic molded heel, cup, and toe cap. It's just about any this style of boot is going to have that. Dual density molded and contoured ankle protectors, anti-twist molded nylon midsole, single density non-slip sole, which I was talking about a little bit ago, arch support and heel coverage. That I don't know how much that arch support is built into the base of the shoe versus the liner, which I'm taking out. We'll see. Breathable mesh liner, and the last item is removable insole, which I already addressed. So nothing there obviously about whether they're warm or not. So that was kind of the reason for making this video, is to fill in the gaps. There's also reflective piping on the rear of it and whatnot. So let's get into the unboxing of it. The first thing you'll notice, it comes in a pretty decent sized box. Obviously this could probably hold up to their size 15 that they offer. Built-in carry handle. And the reason I fuss about the packaging is, as I've said in other videos, if you watch the phone mount review, if it's posted by the time this one goes up, you can tell a lot about how the manufacturer feels about their own product and how they feel about you as a consumer based on how well they package the product. How much effort are they going through to make sure that you get the product undamaged and have a nice presentation, and also so they don't have a bunch of returns for stuff, being abraded or scuffed up, or even, I've seen things cut on corrugated cardboard before, etc. So the packaging's impressive. It's very clearly labeled, with what it is, the Solution WP. The tag has the size on there. This also mentions somewhere they've sorry, I forgot one major thing. So another reason to go with Tourmaster. This is the 3rd generation. This is the WP 3.0. Let's get that up there. So there's a 2.0, which is actually still out in the retail channel, generally about the same price. Tourmaster takes the feedback from their customers and continues to do R&D and product development and product improvement. So this is the 3rd generation, has that improvement. That's another reason to go with Tourmaster. You know, they don't just keep making the same thing over and over again. You know, it's continuous product improvement cycles, which I find nice, because a lot of people keep making the same old thing until they just come out with a new model altogether. Again, you know, packaging, they put some plastic over the boots to keep them from getting abraded in transit. We'll get that out of the way. The boots have the obligatory cardboard in there, and there's some paper wadded up in the bottom. The WP placard, if you want to freeze that and take a look at it, you can see all the details, some of which I just rattled off. And obviously the boots are tagged Tourmaster, so you know they're not counterfeit, and it's imprinted on the boot. So let's get them both out, and we'll just pick one to work with. We'll take the left boot, because that's the one I shift with. Again, so they have the packaging in here, and I mentioned the obligatory hunk of paper wadded up in there to keep the toe box from being crushed in transit. And we'll have to open it to do that. Before I do, so here's the shift guard, and it actually has, for you guys that, you know, put your foot up against the frame on whatever bike you have, it has reinforcement there as well. Not sure about the honeycomb look with all these little depressions. Just looks to me like something that's going to hold dirt and have water accumulate, but we'll see. There's your side ankle protection on the outside. And I believe somewhere along here, some of this is blacked out reflective piping on the rear. For the 3.0, and if you watch the Revzilla review, you know, the video review, you'll see this accordion is actually a couple of pleats higher than the previous version, giving it a little more flexibility. They talk about the torsional rigidity. I don't find it that bad. You know, I'm not riding a dirt bike, so I don't think I need quite as much. And what I'll refer to as the rake of the cuff here isn't that severe. One of the things I didn't want was something that flared out like this and I couldn't pull the pant leg on top of it. I don't understand the wisdom of thinking you're going to tuck your pant leg into the boot in a rainstorm. You've just defeated the whole purpose of the thing being waterproof. So if you're waterproof or water resistant pants, in my case my heated gear, or if you get a rain suit, you know, goes over top of this, you just want to make sure it fits without having it flare out, and that's going to make it want to come up. So not bad. This Velcro closure is large and actually takes a good deal of effort to open up. So I don't know how that's going to wear over time if you take it off and on a lot. We'll see. Like any Velcro, you have to keep, you know, pet hair out of it or fuzzies or whatever. And this is the little tab that I was talking about on the attached to the zipper that you can put up against the Velcro to keep it from walking down. Looks like there's a couple of threads here that just are loose. So that's a nice feature there, and again, it is a branded YKK zipper. It should last forever. So if you pull that down, the first thing you notice is the waterproof liner is exposed. It's actually doubled up. So there's the breathable layer and a waterproof layer there. I think this outside is waterproof, and the inside is the breathable mesh. There's a little bit of perforated padding inside. And I talked about the, the packaging. It was tight, so it was a little difficult to get off and on. If it wasn't zippered, there's no way I'd be able to get this on my foot until after it was broken in, so I don't know how that would happen. But again, at the price point, I think I'll be pretty happy with it. The sole isn't anything all that remarkable, you know, other than it is supposed to be oil resistant. It's set up for traction. I don't expect these little dots to be on there for too long. You know, after a lot of stop and go, they'll probably wear flush, but they are surrounded by a recessed area, so as everything else wears, they'll wear as well. So you'll at least have those little, you know, pockets where you're going to get down to the ground through the water. And it looks like they're also made to sipe water out once your foot is up on a peg or a floorboard. The overall feel of the boot, it's pretty darn light, almost to the point you wonder if it's kind of cheap until you just look at the construction. Everything's double stitched, all the seams. That's not always the case with a lot of boots. A lot of boots are single stitched. You know, only the lightest little flap area here is single stitched, but everything else is double stitched all up through the boot, all through the stress areas, as it were. So that's pretty impressive, even around the toe guard. So again, it wears a bit more like an athletic shoe. You know, not quite as light as a sneaker, obviously, but it doesn't have that big clunky feel of some of my cruiser style. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't want the off-road look. You know, I'm not the sport touring rider necessarily, so I didn't need wear pucks on the outside or anything like that. There was even some of that available in this price point, and I just didn't care for the look, and it's not something I'm going to use. Obviously, it would come in handy for a crash, but I'm hedging my bets here and hoping that is a non-issue. And just for the rest of the time, I think it would just be cumbersome and be annoying for me. So this is a pretty quick review. Like I said, I'll wear with it, I'll live with it, I'll put the heated insoles in it, I'll try it in, you know, very cold weather, and I'll do a follow-up video again and let you know. My takeaway based on having laid hands on it, putting them on my feet, and the reviews that I've read tells me that this is a pretty darn good bang for the buck. As you know from watching my other videos, I am thrifty, but I don't want to buy something twice because it was so cheap it just fell apart. These are, even the prior versions, the 1.0 and the 2.0 have pretty good reviews, and everybody says that they seem to wear well. So I think I'm going to be happy with this purchase. I'm going to be happy for this purchase for several years at least. And again, you know, we'll do a follow-up later. Again, please like the video if you enjoyed the content. Subscribe if you want to see more, and hit the notification if you want to know when a new video is posted. Thank you. Ride safe. Namaste.